Testing, testing.
No, let's just go.
Let's just go.
It'll be fine.
It'll be just fine. Okay. You ready?
Is it 10 seconds yet?
Oh, it went to 14, 15.
Oh,
my
God's
gosh.
sakes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, ready?
Welcome to another episode of Driving to the Reds with your favorite hosts.
With your favorite hosts,
Larry and Inelia. Yay! You didn't get to distract me that time. You tried real hard. You did try. You tried real hard to distract me.
Yes, I did try to mess you up.
Yes, you did.
But it didn't work.
Nah, didn't work. I was focused.
Brilliant. Oh, no, I said, oh, for God's sakes.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Oh, for God's sakes. And I was listening to a doctor podcast. He was talking about his...
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
Yeah, and that... No, he didn't talk... He talked about Gabriel, actually.
Oh, okay.
Gabriel told him some things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was this guy?
What was he?
Yeah.
A random doctor. Him and his...
Some random.
Yeah, he learned his techniques from Brian Weiss. Remember Weiss's?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So a doctor as in psychologist, not like a medical doctor?
Oh, he's a medical doctor.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he was a medical doctor. Okay. Mm-hmm. He's doing his doctor stuff. And this was way back, like 30, 40 years-ish ago when computers first started being used in medicine.
Oh, yeah.
To keep track of your, like, patient records and stuff. Mm-hmm. So he was a doctor and he was a bit crabby. And he got super duper crabby because he had to spend so much time typing his stuff into the computer instead of doing patient care.
Oh, wow.
So his office manager suggested that they have a meditation before they start work every morning. So they have group meditations, calm their minds down a little bit before they started and help with them being so crabby. Mm. So they went and they started like half an hour before work every day for a week or so. Mm-hmm. And everyone showed up the first couple of days. And after the first couple of days, everyone said, we'll just do our meditation at home and come to work at the normal time. Yeah. They didn't want to come early.
Oh my goodness.
But the doctor and office manager, they both decided and kept with it.
Mm-hmm.
And as they were meditating, spontaneously, the doctor started having, I wouldn't say recalls, but he was having communications with the office manager's deceased mother. She was saying, hello, how are you? And et cetera, et cetera. And she showed him her shoes because she had special shoes, which turned out to be a really good marker for the office manager. Because the office manager's mom, she knew about her mom's fan of ballroom dancing and she had special shoes for it. So she tested him. It was like, shoes. She showed you her shoes. Which ones were they? And she showed him 10 different pairs of shoes. He picked the right ones. She was a little upset, actually. She's like, how come is my mom talking to you and not me? We're both meditating. This isn't right.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. And each subsequent day, they had more and more information coming in. So the next time the doctor was doing his meditation, he had a recall from when he was like 3 years old and went to the beach. Mm-hmm. And he met a young girl there, very young, who come over and told him, you need to be quiet. Our family's here on the beach and you're disturbing us. Something like that, right? And he said, I remember this girl and she had this little blue bathing suit on with little ruffles. And it turned out it was in a totally, East Coast. It wasn't, and they were on the West Coast. It's like a long ways away where they grew up when they were children. They didn't know each other, but that was both of them on the beach. She said, I remember that because I had a special swimsuit. The first time that she'd gotten a brand new swimsuit in her whole life. Because usually her only swimsuits were hand-me-downs.
Right.
But they'd all piled into cabs because they were too poor to have a car.
Mm-hmm.
They took cabs to the beach, and it was kind of like East Coast beaches where they have sand, but they also have an amusement park and everything, and a boardwalk and things like that.
Nice.
So they got to the beach. They didn't have a swimsuit for her, so they had to actually buy a new one, which was an extremely, memorable event for her. Because it was her first and her only. Anyway, so he had recall of that incident, which of course, until they talked about it, neither one would have remembered, and there was no way for either one to remember that was that person, right?
Yeah, of course.
So But the markers, like the shoes and the swimsuit, they were kind of like, these are personal markers that each one could use to verify the accuracy of their seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And accuracy in seeing's, we've been practicing quite a bit of that. And
True
you do
thing.
it all the dang time. Yeah. And finding out how accurate and how truthful these things are, it's part of what you teach in the truthing class, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So in this case, their truthing was their examples of their current experience in life past a place where they would have individual memory, but the other one would be able to verify.
Right.
So they're kind of truthing with each other in a way, right?
Yeah.
Well, this led to more meditation and more interest in the data they were receiving, to the point where he found that the office manager, himself, had been incarnating together for 6,000 years.
Wow.
And had hundreds of lives, but had shared something like 30 or 60 or some number like that they could recall details of each one.
Wow.
They found it so fascinating, they started training with Dr. Weiss back, I don't know, when he first started too.
Yeah.
And they were researching the past lives in the University of Virginia. The same path, but they did that, and they did the meditations, they started connecting with all their past lives. And as they started connecting with their past lives, they started connecting with things like angels. That's where the Gabriel thing came.
Oh, okay.
And Gabriel said, don't call him Archangel, because they don't have hierarchy in angels. And God told him his real name is like that's in the Hebrew Bible or whatever. Pretty sure that's the Yahweh thing or something.
Oh, Yeshua or Yahweh.
Yahweh. Anyway, God said, don't call him that name. Okay. Keep it to himself. Just call him God.
Okay.
So when I listened to his experiences, it seemed like to me that the initial experience with facts that he could verify, and then past life recalls with data in the past life recalls that he could also look up, and she could look up genealogy records or history records and find that person or that lifetime and the shared memory of it. When it started to move into angels and start to move into aliens or God or things like that, then it started to slip into the seeing may be accurate, the interpretation may be based on not enough data, you know what I mean? So for example, the purpose of life and the reason you incarnate, and they had to incarnate over this 6,000 year period, was karma and learning lessons, learning how to, learning how to be a right. But it is probably accurate to say that he believes that and believed that at a level, so that he and she could have 6,000 years of incarnations.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think he believes it?
No. I think that it's a very recent teaching to keep people thinking that the planet is for learning and not having experiences. And also that negative things, like karma is usually used in a negative way, is okay.
A way to explain away negative experiences.
Not explain away.
Them valuable?
Making them valuable, yes. Not explain away, but making them valuable so that the dark, low frequency stuff can stick around on the planet because people give it value and want it in their lives. So
it's a recent implant into the way that you interpret a seeing that may be accurate, but your application of meaning to it isn't.
Yeah. So
or the meaning of, like, I had a life, he said, as a soldier in Greece fighting the Romans or whatever. And then I had a life in Rome fighting the Greeks. And I had a life in whatever fighting the Vlas or whatever. So I had to pay for my killing Roman soldiers by being a Roman soldier or something like that, right? So it could be accurate that he saw a life that he led, but the reasonings are a recent implant.
Yes.
How can you differentiate between, actually it doesn't matter. How can you, you want recent teachings that are high frequency to help you interpret what you see, but how do you differentiate between a recent teaching that maybe you've given that gives an expanded awareness experience. Like you had this experience, and that's what it was an experience. This particular one was low frequency, and you just wanted to have a low frequency experience, not you wanted a low frequency experience so you could learn how to be a jerk. I mean, that's kind of what, and you were a jerk, and so you have this experience to make up for being a jerk.
Yeah. Do you see how it doesn't make sense when you look at it that way? So the to-go that I have is, if it's validating low frequency engagements, it is a false teaching.
Simple.
Yep. Yep.
If a low frequency experience becomes validated, in some way made good,
yes,
then it's
a false teaching.
False teaching. Because a negative experience or low frequency experience is what?
Are just experiences a person chose to have. To just have them.
It's not superior or inferior in any way to a high frequency experience?
No.
It sure feels like it.
It isn't though. But
it doesn't.
It's just an experience, but it's also an experience that you can only have in a light-dark paradigm as a light being.
A light being can only have
low-frequency experiences in a light-dark.
Low-frequency experiences in a light-dark reality.
Yes.
Because it can't exist in a dark reality.
Right.
And it wouldn't happen in a light reality, but only in a light-dark.
Yeah.
Why on earth would a light being want to have low-frequency experiences?
And the learning part...
Oh.
The learning part... Yeah, we'll go back to that question. But the learning part is, how do I live on Earth, on a physical reality, within a physical body? That would be the extent of the learning. So I learn to walk, I learn to talk, I learn about how to create pain, I learn how to create pleasure, I learn how to create joy, I learn how to create darkness, I learn how to create light. I learned how to create, and I learned how to live on the earth, on a physical experience. I learned to ride a bike, right? I learned to drive a car. Those are the type of learning. That's why people say, yeah, but, you learn not to touch fire because of pain. No, you just learn to not touch fire. That's it. Well,
how many times do I got to learn not to touch fire? I mean, crying out loud every single time?
Some of them, yeah. Because you're learning with your physical body. But... at the same time, some people come in knowing how to create beautiful art, even at age 3. They've already learned it in a different lifetime. They've just been polishing their art, Or somebody comes in who can speak. I knew somebody who could speak about 12 languages fluently. And I was like, how did that person do it? I struggle with one, right? I struggle with one language. I mean, I have 2 now, and I struggle with 2 languages. And now I'm learning, I'm also learning French, Romanian, and German. And I struggle with all those 3 as well. So how could a person speak 12 languages fluently, right? So they're coming in and keeping that learning of speaking languages from lifetime to lifetime.
Do you remember the German word for butterflies yet?
No.
Flipper-floppers?
Somebody told you how...
I know, they told us.
We read it a few times.
We forgot it last time we read it. It was like, well, remember this time. We'll remember this time. Goofer-floppers?
No.
Oh, come on, honey. Give me a word.
I don't know. I couldn't read... Because I struggle with languages.
Fluffins.
Fluffins? No.
Flappins?
Flappins? Flapper-flappins?
Fetterlings. You don't remember?
No.
Oh, my gosh. Well... one thing I always thought was that high-frequency reality included recall of, like, all your past lives as a component of your life, Like an expanded awareness would include being aware of all the things you already know. I mean, why do we got to learn Italian? I know Italian. I know Roman. I know all of the places that I've ever grown up. I know every language on the planet, likely.
Probably. But you didn't choose to keep them, right?
Well, one thing is, remember the languages were designed for separation?
Yeah.
And so, obviously I want separation if I rely on languages, but if we move into a high-frequency paradigm, or that's not the right word, if we create a high-frequency paradigm, do you think that would include experiential telepathy, in which case the words you use are like less relevant. They're kind of like placekeepers, not really language or information sharers.
Correct. Yeah.
Like we're communicating and we can make noises with our mouths while we're talking, but the experiential telepathy link shares the data beyond and around the words in a bigger way, right?
Yeah.
Or with more data and less noises.
Yeah.
We don't have to be silent while we're doing it, though.
No.
As a matter of fact, probably the words are like an illusion in a way. We are experientially telepathing to each other, and the words feel like an instruction on how limited to make it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not really transmitting the information; they're transmitting the limitation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we could say green, but if we were to telepathically express the color that we're talking about, there's 10 million shades of green.
There are, yes.
So just saying green means one green.
Yeah.
Generally speaking. So it's a limitation.
Yeah.
But it is a guide, direction to look. So if I say green, honey, what comes to what color do you see in your mind?
Well, at the moment there's a plant next to us, and that's what I see immediately. A very deep, kind of bright, sparkly type spring green.
Okay, what green do you see me transmitting to you?
Aqua green.
Aqua green? Well, see that?
Oh yeah, that's aqua green. Is that the one you were transmitting?
Yeah.
He pointed at a bag on the floor.
It's green. Two
Actually,
greens.
it's not on the floor, it's on the
It's
shoe
on
rack.
the little shoe rack, yeah. 2 greens, it's some kind of clover seeds.
Yeah.
Anyway, an interesting thing to conceive concept about, but back to what we were talking about in the beginning a little bit, the past life recall, and then recent interpretation, and then the application of reason. That is who's, where, why would those type teachings gain traction, so much traction? How are they?
They appeal to the ego.
They appeal to people's egos to make their experiences, their low frequency experiences, meaningful.
Yeah.
That they weren't what
Random.
they were.
Yeah.
They were something more important.
Yeah.
What would
And
be
also
the difference?
usually makes them victims as well, which is, I wasn't responsible for this.
So people will sometimes argue with that, seeing in that it dismisses any fire is hot, don't touch it, learning, as that wasn't necessary. And so kind of like on the flip side, it makes the experiences that we consider meaningful in our lives not meaningful, even though they had a huge impact.
So impact is not the same as learning, right? And impact is usually referred to an emotional, mental impact, or sometimes physical too. So if you have a car crash and, lose both legs, that's a very impactful experience. A very, big, full of energy experience. And that's a choice, to have a very full, energy-filled experience, emotionally filled, mentally filled, maybe even obstacle filled experience. Yeah. So, and that's what I've seen, but it doesn't mean that the person had an accident and lost both legs because they needed to be more humble. They needed
to make up for the last time they cut somebody's legs off.
Exactly.
It isn't about that.
No, it's not about that.
Could it be about that?
No.
Even if they believe it? I mean, even if they're, if they make
Here's how it comes in. So let's say a person cuts in a lifetime cuts somebody else's both legs, and in the moment of cutting those legs, they think, I wonder what that will feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why they had it this time. So there's another interpretation of karma that is not very popular in the West, but to me is way more accurate, which is the desire of experience. So until you fulfill all the desires of experience that you could possibly have in a physical body on earth, you're not going to stop incarnating. And that's why there are some teachings, some Buddhist teachings, that say the path to enlightenment is desire. It's a different concept of karma. And in the West, the one that has been popularized everywhere, not surprisingly, because it's a very negative teaching and it's a false teaching, is tit for tat. Right? Karma is tit for tat.
Right.
Which is false.
I suppose that's important as to what do you mean by when you say karma, because I know lots of people who say karma means that...
it's a bitch?
No. You remember I'm a bit of a light worker.
Oh, right, of
karma
course.
Karma means you get...
paid for your good deeds?
Pay for all of your good deeds, yeah. All of your good deeds come back to you tenfold.
Yeah.
So you got a good parking spot, you got help in the checkout
karma.
lane,
Yeah.
you got
the last thing though, right?
The last thing that was on the shelf was the thing that you were after, and nobody was trying to race you for it. There was nobody there, but the thing is there. Mm-hmm. Even though it's all sold out, there was one left, and it's waiting there for you. That karma is like a nice, the nice instant manifestation helper. I think that'd be the right way.
Yeah, so it goes tit for tat, right?
Right, and I see people who are suffering and say karma is a bitch, or they look at somebody who's getting their comeuppance, say, yeah, karma got you, butt. Karma bites you right in the butt. And then there's other people, you say, what the heck? They did all that nastiness, and look, what do they get? Treasure for reward.
Exactly.
Karma didn't work the right way.
Right.
And
then people say, but don't worry, because it'll happen next time.
Or they'll
lifetime.
pay when they die.
When they die, or the next life, they'll do it, Which is ridiculous. It's totally, utterly ridiculous.
It isn't ridiculous.
It is too.
It's the way you can cope with the fact that people doing shitty things still have good stuff. They shouldn't.
Now, we're stepping into righteousness now, right? Don't forget, there's no victims on the planet. Don't forget that nothing can happen to a person without their agreement, implied or stated agreement.
So you remember reading, when I was reading to you some more, you're still thinking?
Nope.
Okay, I can talk?
Yes.
Okay, so we were reading some more, and they were doing their afterlife memories, their remember in between lives experience, and they would gather all together in a group, and they would see, like, well, so family, we're back together, it's so nice. But there'd be one guy sneaking or hiding down in the back, doesn't want to be seen because he was the evil bastard. And then they would talk to each other, see each other, and say, oh, yeah, I understand what it's all about. It's just experience. It's no big deal. And they'd get along just fine. Mm-hmm. But they carried that, you were an evil bastard, beat the shit out of me. That was seen through the writer of the book, that he had done, the one that was doing the evil shit, the hardest job. And
validating the negative actions.
Exactly. It's easy to be friendly to each other in life, but who's going to be the bad guy out of our group? You're going to have to be the bad guy this time.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be hard. It'll be the last thing you would ever want to do because you love each other so much.
Right.
But somebody's got to do it or else we can't learn these lessons.
Exactly, yeah.
So do you think they talk each other
ridiculous.
into it in the in-between lives, or it's just the
explanation of the experience afterwards?
Right, but these
from
are...
From the teachings that they are in their present incarnation.
But in a sense, though, these words are the words from the people that are saying them in that in-between life.
Today.
Yeah. Well, if we go a few thousand years back, they have the same kind of languages in all those books and things, you know?
Yeah, because today, this experience of light dark started about 4,000 years ago. Maybe even 10.
Maybe even 6.
Maybe even 6.
Somewhere between 5 and 6 and 10.
Yeah, something like that. You know, I'm not very good at linear time.
Yeah, and the number could be attached to a cycle or an event or something. I mean, if it needed an accurate date,
I'm sure
it could say like 17999.2.4. That's when. Yeah. And what's the difference going to make?
Right. There are methods that you can use with today's way of counting years and go backwards to find the moment where it began. I mean, we could do that.
I agree, but where's the value?
Exactly.
Honestly?
Quite honestly.
What's the difference between 5 and 10,000 years ago and 4,992?
Exactly.
BC.
Yeah.
Which is 6,992.
Right.
Does that feel better?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
But where the experience of light dark for light beings means they have these low frequency experiences, why in the hell would they want to?
Because they're curious.
Because they're curious?
Yeah.
Do you think that they carry that curiosity in between lives?
Yes.
Do you think that they tell each other porkies so that they'll fall a little deeper into the story?
Yes.
So the in-between life experience where they were explaining, oh, I was the bad one, so that's why I don't want to show my face, but, we were just having experiences, that's accurate. Those two souls, well, they're not at that point souls, they're at that point they are
people having regression.
They're the in-between life elemental body. What's the in-between life called?
It could be the elemental body, or it could be the soul, right?
Either way, they're validating their experience to themselves to continue it.
Yeah.
In-between lives doesn't mean you know everything all at once.
No, you don't.
You still carry whatever it was. It's like you died and now you're there instead of here. It's like you go to sleep and you wake up in your dream. You don't know that you're asleep and dreaming unless you become aware of it.
Correct. So,
and if you're a Buddhist and you chant about death stuff and really, really, really focus on it, probably when you're dead too.
Yes. So, about the Buddhist, I practiced Buddhism for a few years, about 7 years, I think, or 11 years, I can't remember. I loved that practice. And we didn't see it as a religion, we saw it as a frequency practice, a practice of frequency. And one of the things that happened during, and I'll rewind a little bit, my family lineage is people who will walk the valley of death with people who are dying. They carry that lineage. So we often find ourselves in situations where someone is dying, and then we help them cross over. Right.
Right.
And that's just part of a role that the human collective is ingrained into the human collective, and it happens. And so there are certain skills that lineage has, which is often to be able to see what the person who's in the valley of death sees.
Right.
And to be able to communicate with them directly or be witness to it. Anyways, so I was in that practice, and one of the Buddhist guys died, and we went to his funeral. But as soon as we heard that he was dying, there was a chant, like you mentioned, there was a chant we had to do, a very special chant, sutra, reading of a particular sutra, so that he would remember that he was awakened and he had choices in life, right? And there's a particular teaching on that Buddhist school that says that when you go into the in-between lives, you are taken by I can't remember how many, a huge number of Buddhas into an awakened state, right? Or something like that. I can't exactly remember the details. Anyways, we were sitting together chanting as he was dying, and then died. And when he died, I saw him step up and into what I call the Valley of Death. I mean, I know it's a Christian vocabulary, But to me, it was the most accurate words to describe this place where the person goes from being alive and walks towards the in-between lives. Right? And in that walk, it does look like a valley. Sometimes it's full of trees, sometimes it's a desert, sometimes it's light, sometimes it's dark. It varies with the person. And sometimes the person walks, sometimes they get on a horse with somebody else, or in their own horse, or a carriage, or a car, Ferrari. It doesn't really matter. It's very, very different for each person. And this guy walked, and he came to a place, and this was in the chant as well, the sutra. And he sat with the major Buddhas, and they were giant figures. These Buddhas who were going to listen to and look at his life, and then make a judgment. Right? And I was fascinated, right? I was really fascinated. I was witness. I was witness. So I walked down with him, and I was standing with other witnesses looking at him. So he sat down. But the most fascinating aspect to me of this whole scene was that the 3 giant Buddhas were him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was 3 of him sitting there in front of him, and I'm like, I was like, wow, that's fascinating. And I was looking at him, looking at these giant Buddhas, all, like shaky, waiting for his judgment or whatever. And then I decided to look through his eyes. And when I looked through his eyes, he didn't see the 3 Buddhas were him. They were the 3 different faces of Buddha or something like that. And they didn't look anything like him. And I tried to so I went in front of him and I said, but look, open your eyes. Those Buddhas are you. Those Buddhas are you. Just look. Just open your eyes. And I kept saying this to him. But he was so engrossed in his reality at that moment that he sat there, and the 3 Buddhas judged him and measured his positive and negative frequencies.
Karmas or whatever.
No.
No.
The frequencies that he had and created in others. And that balance, right, dictates your experience of the afterlife or whatever, right? Or your choices. Oh, that noise is hailstones. Yeah,
we have nice extreme weather. We actually have a world record low temperature coming.
Wow.
The lowest temperature ever recorded in Seattle, supposedly.
But Seattle's very far from here.
Yeah, but we're not that far from it.
But we either are or aren't. We better pause until the hailstones pass so that Sandra doesn't have too much of a tough time editing us.
Okay, it's over.
Well, we leave it for Sandra to decide whether she wants to keep the noise or not.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice hello from Gaia.
Yeah.
Anyways, we were just talking about the weather while the weather was doing the weather.
Yeah. So it was really fascinating,
back
right?
to Buddhas, yeah.
That he chose not to see it and to interpret what was happening. And the way that I saw that balance was more to do with, have I completed all the experiences I want to have, right? And which experiences do I have left that I want to have? That's how I interpreted it, that balance. Because it was him deciding, those 3 Buddhas were him. It's like, yeah, I haven't actually experienced this and this and this and that and that and that, okay, so we'll manage. And then he just vanished, and the whole scene vanished, and I was back in my body, and everybody was chanting around me. Right, so it was interesting.
Is it? I mean, I hear people, like you say, well, he was like, oh, I'd like to have this one and that experience and this experience too. Isn't a part of Buddhism or the Buddhist teachings to get off the incarnation wheel of some form, where your goal is to clear your stuff and whatever stuff you carry at some point, clear all of these burdens on you so that you're either an example of or off of that wheel of karma where you don't have to come back, don't have to reincarnate. And I mean, isn't that a concept or a core concept of Buddhism?
So Buddhism, for anybody who is not familiar with it, has thousands upon thousands of schools, most of which were based on one sutra, and a sutra is the teaching of the Buddha, the historically known Buddha. I can't remember his name.
Siddhartha or whatever.
I can't remember his name, but it's a recorded Buddha from India. He used to be a prince, and then he had lots of practices.
Is he the chubby one or the skinny one?
Well, depends on the culture. But he sat under the Buddha tree and he became enlightened, that one. Yeah. Anyways, he taught thousands upon thousands of different teachings, and each of those teachings are called sutras. And he would aim the teaching to a certain person for their road to enlightenment. And the core basic of everything is to reach enlightenment. So the other things about, escaping the cycle of life and death and all that type of stuff, they're added in some of the teachings, not all of them, but there isn't a standard go-to one true Buddhist teaching. There's literally thousands upon thousands of them, with the schools to go with them and the followers to go with them and everything else. So there's Buddhist teachings where the lamas, their toenails are sold as, religious artifacts.
I've seen the pictures. Some of them are religious artifacts, let me tell you.
And there's others who live in high modern living, high-rise flats or whatever, and have the pursuit of happiness through the fulfillment of desire, and they're billionaires, So there's everything in between. They're very different. And so to make a blanket statement would not be accurate or true about Buddhism with regards to karma or escaping this wheel of life and death.
Well,
and
all Buddhists, you can't say blanket that all Buddhists are
seeking enlightenment,
aware of and seeking enlightenment, and also aware of and certain, in a way, of reincarnation. It's not a concept that they don't accept. They accept that. If you're a Buddhist, you say yes, reincarnation for sure, and yes, enlightenment for sure.
Yes. And
is there a common purpose for reincarnation taught through Buddhist schools? What are the varieties?
Yeah, there's tons of varieties.
What is the one for the school that you were in?
It was to reach enlightenment in your present incarnation.
And what was the purpose of reincarnation?
It didn't really have a purpose, except for getting to a lifetime where you will accept the fact that you can be instantly enlightened. So you're going to do it until you figure it out, basically. And then you can choose.
So your current lifetime will be whichever one you're incarnated in, however many times you got to do it. Something like
until you get it, until you get there, and it's like one of the aspects of it that people often misinterpret is that a lot of the Buddhist teachings will tell you that, yes, that they're trying to step out of the cycle of life and death, right? And what is not taught, generally speaking, is that stepping out of that enforced cycle or unconscious cycle, an enlightened cycle, doesn't mean that you're not going to be reborn again. It just means that the next time you're not going to be working from an unconscious, desirous place, but actually you're going to make conscious decisions about the life you're going to have, and also whether you will have a life or not. You actually choose. You have become conscious from being an unconscious participant.
Do you think the people that I talk to that say, they are very adamant about, this is the last time I'm coming here. I ain't never reincarnating. I'm never incarnating here again. I'm out of here. This place, I'm out of here. I'm not. And you hear that? Do you think that's a remnant from some of the Buddhist teachings, that they're not a Buddhist in this life, but they're carrying that same get off the wheel of incarnation type energy? Like, I'm not coming, I'm not redoing it, but they're not using Buddhist words, they're just using English words. Do you think it's a past life
I think
follow on, or why do people even say that,
I don't think that there's a general one reason for it. The one that the energy behind those words that I've seen is just people are exhausted, the light workers that are exhausted of holding the light frequencies on the planet for thousands of years, and they're done doing that job and they want to just go home, which home being a place that doesn't have light dark, it just has light. That's how it feels with majority of them, but of course there might be some who might be just verbalizing not going to be part of this cycle of life and death anymore on planet Earth.
Right. Guess there's like 8 billion reasons, huh?
Yep.
Well, I also don't understand why you would hold the light all that long a time to create a new paradigm of light and then not want to go there.
Because they're already from a paradigm of light. They don't need to stay here for it. They can just go home.
We'll want this to be home?
It's still in a process, you know. I mean, for the next 2 generations, I think 2.5 generations, there'll still be a lot of work to be done to become fully active and conscious planet of people.
Okay, so they could change their language a little. Say, it feels to me like it might be more high frequency to say, I'm not going to be incarnating back into this light-dark process.
Expression. Yeah.
I will be interested in a light reality, but not a light-dark.
Yeah, on Earth.
So, So I think it's easier, or it might be better to specify, I ain't never coming back here, meaning light-dark here.
Yeah.
That'd be good. I think feels better to me to hear that. Speaking of that, light dark, do you think, besides curiosity, and the reason I'm talking about this is the obstacle to challenge thing, that card that we saw when you were doing your look at 2020? Was that when it was?
2022, you mean?
Whatever. 2 twos. Lots of twos in there. Was that when you pulled it?
No, it was for the Emergency Series workshop from My Benz Academy.
Oh, that's right.
And it was a card for us to look at and be present with for the next week.
Speaking of those cards, okay, we had a card for the 2022 look for the wide group, everybody listening, which was choose your direction, right?
Yes.
Which was pretty interesting. It was like, what are you going to have? Light, dark? Light. Which one are you going to choose?
Yeah.
And I notice people's languages always are saying it's the dark or the light. Mm-hmm. But they seem to forget that it's the light dark or the light.
Yes.
Can a light being pick a dark only?
Yeah.
How the heck
do you do it? It's going to be tough, though.
Oh.
It's going to be tough. The same as a dark being can choose just light, and it's going to be tough for them.
Right. It won't have sense. Be like a light dark, I can understand you want to be a light being in a light dark reel because maybe you want to influence dark, or maybe you want to fix dark or heal dark or save dark
or love dark,
or maybe even be a rascal and be a bit rascally. Maybe you want to do that.
Yeah,
I can understand that. But
or be the bad guy because nobody else will do it.
Right, you have to pick the hard job and be the bad guy.
Yeah, martyr yourself. Yeah.
Well, anyway, that card was really excellent for the wide group. Then there was a narrower group, Walk Within Hours, people who've chosen a light reality, not a light dark. Mm-hmm. And their card, remember that card?
Oh, which one was it?
Well,
because we did the
one was direction, and then the other one was interesting because it was specific for light. People had already chosen, so it didn't have a choose direction.
Yeah, it was.
But it had something about being your. I don't remember.
I guess if people want to know, join Walk With Me Now and listen to the recording of the second hour of the Looking at 2022.
Yeah, there's a waiting list. So, I mean, if you want access to this information, you're going to have to really want it.
Yeah, really,
you're not
really
at the choice point of, I might not. Yeah. You're at the choice point of,
I really want to. Yeah.
So there's a waiting list. You don't just get access. You gotta.
I don't know if that waiting list has been implemented yet. But
well, if it hasn't, you just better be quick because if you go right away and there's no waiting list, then you get access to the full 2 hours talk.
Oh, there's also another waiting list being prepared at Iben's Academy, actually.
Is there?
For the next expression of the instant manifestation workshop, because it's a limited number and some people didn't get in the last one. So to get on that list, you actually have to go in and use the form to say, hey, Ashley, or hey, Cara, can you put me on the list for the next instant manifestation workshop, please? Because, even though we haven't even scheduled it for even doing it, obviously we're gonna, for 2022, we haven't even scheduled it or anything yet. So people do want to make sure they get in, so waiting lists, man, it's a privilege, not something that just happens every day.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, speaking of instant manifesting, Cara and her pink flamingos.
Yeah, what about it?
My gosh, they show up so many places. Well, you know, when you become focused in your power.
And the human collective agrees
and
thinks
the human
it's
collective
funny.
agrees and thinks it's funny. My
fun.
gosh.
Yeah,
I
joyful.
can't even begin to express the pink flamingo. I mean, we drive to the res.
Okay, so tell them a little history first.
You got to tell them a little history first.
Right,
I'm going to tell them
remember?
about on the res.
Okay. So, some months ago, before we did the first physical instant manifestation workshop, which was over a year ago, Cara...
Speaking of which, Cara said we can share information about her.
Yeah, she did. Yeah,
yeah.
she said we
Just
can
so
talk about her. We have full permission to share all her cases.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be fun.
It's going to be so much fun. I bet she's cringing now.
Like, oh, geez, did I really say that? I know, I said that about myself, and every now and then I kept myself going, did I really say that was okay?
No.
Yeah, it's okay.
FYI, he's blushing now. So anyways, during our training, she's one of our private students. She was practicing instant manifestation skills. Mm-hmm. And one of the tools that I have used is to broadcast what I want into the electricity system of the human collective, right? So I do it on a light bulb or a plug socket, and I touch it or put my hand on it or visualize it, and I tell them what I want, right? And then it goes out through the electric system, the human electric system, to every person's living room in the planet.
Wow, right? That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting method, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, of course, you need to have the human collective agreement and everything else that goes with it, like the orchestration and all these things. Nothing can happen without agreement. Remember that. So we were just talking about it, and she said, yeah, but like what? I can't think of anything. Well, just think of something very unusual, something that doesn't come up very often, so that she wanted to know, do something quickly that will manifest around her. That was very unusual, but it was a good test.
Sort of a validation.
No, it's more like a scientific test. I'm going to test it out to see how it works, and if it works, or if I need to fix it.
Well, that's a validation in my mind.
Oh, can you switch that off? Little fairies texting me.
The fairy is tinkling you.
Little fairy's texting me. A beautiful fairy is texting me.
There, okay.
All right.
We'll talk to the fairy after.
Yes. So, in the spur of the moment, she said, okay, pink flamingos. Right? And I said, okay,
Cara,
be prepared.
When you're going to do these experiments, I was thinking, we were watching a show and the Matrix boy's going to step off the building and fly.
Yeah.
From the top of the building, I'm thinking, you want to practice? How about from 2 feet up?
Right.
Because flying's flying, right? Do you need the whole way down? But they're going for a different story.
Oh, the new Matrix movie. Yeah, we should talk about that in one of our podcasts.
All right, we'll put it on my list. Anyways, yeah, it's like pink flamingos. Couldn't have been gold coins. No. Couldn't have been $100 bills. No. Had to be something like pink flamingos.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay, if that's your fascination.
It all cascaded and took off during the instant manifestation workshop. And the first thing that happened was that one of the members of the
Brought
workshop
gifts.
brought little gifts that she'd randomly picked up in a little store for everyone that was in the workshop. And what did Kara get but a tiny little beautiful pink flamingo?
A little glass pink flamingo, right?
Yes,
Unwrapped.
gorgeous.
Everybody got gifts, and I think I got a frog or something really awful.
Yeah.
Not awful.
Or I think I might have got it and I gave it to her.
No, I got something and I gave it to you. We swapped ours each other.
We were swapping stuff. And
because
anyways, Kara
got
eventually reached the one that she got or swapped or whatever, and it was a pink flamingo. And she was like, oh, what? And it was like such an unusual way to get a pink flamingo. Such an unusual way. It was like one of those bracelet little hanging things. What are those called? The
dangles,
charms.
bangles, charm bracelet.
Yeah, it's like a charm for a charm bracelet.
Right.
And then her face, and I was laughing, and so she had to explain what it was.
Yep.
So this powerful group of instant manifestation workshop attendants learning how to instantly manifest boosted
to the moon.
Yeah, that intent so powerfully that literally rainbows started. Flamingos. There was like record numbers of real life flamingos happening somewhere in the world that week. And it was like, what?
What the?
And then tell about the res.
I drove to the res. We were driving to the res, doing our podcast, as usual. Driving down the road, I turned past my daughter's house, and in the front lawn was 20 pink flamingos and a sign. Call this number if you want your yard to be full of flamingos.
Yes.
Like, in Nia Bay, really? There's 20 flamingos in the grass and a sign? Just call and you can have them anywhere you want. It's like, who starts that business?
I know. It was crazy cool.
Oh my gosh. And then now, forever since, I mean, the collective really loves sending flamingos in the most unusual places. So instead of a snow angel, it's a snow flamingo.
Yeah, snow flamingo.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite funny.
It's been quite fun.
So since that time, I will have to say, Kara has directed her instant manifestation skills into more areas that are, life-supporting, I guess.
Yes.
I mean, flamingos aren't a bad thing, but
yeah.
The same skill works on all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But it requires,
I do believe she's a
do it
millionaire now, isn't she?
Oh, yeah. In order to muster that type of focus, training helps. Because instead of life happening to you,
you happen to life.
You're happening to life, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing, and that we never remembered the card. Oh yeah, that's right. Because not only did we not remember it, we didn't remember it for a reason.
The card?
Yeah, for the second hour.
Oh, it's because that's for Walk With Me Now members only.
To help people manifest in their life, Walk With Me Now, who are ready for it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need...
So here's the thing about Walk With Me Now.
Sometimes you need pull.
Walk With Me Now was requested by the high-frequency people of Earth, the collective. Now, all you need to do is join it. Because we worked really hard, right, to make it happen. And to me, it feels like a high-frequency gathering of allies of your high-frequency expression of Earth. That's how it feels to me.
Because you don't instantly manifest alone.
No, it never happens alone. You might think it's just you, but it's not. Never. Because everything is delivered by humans.
And if your manifesting partners are high-frequency, and you are high-frequency, guess what?
Empowered.
You're going to be a powerful manifester of high-frequency things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep. Which is the whole point.
The whole point.
That's the whole point.
Yes.
So, the third card, which we shared with the emergency lecture series people, was, because think of the nature of an emergency lecture series. It's most likely people who are encountering plenty of obstacles.
Right.
So the lecture series...
Yeah, emergency.
Emergency, I mean, it's an emergency
situation on the planet, right?
Right, and some people find themselves where there's a lot of emergencies happening around them. Mm-hmm. So the card that group got for the first call after done the first couple of lectures was
obstacles
to challenges.
No, obstacles and challenges.
Oh.
However, you see, this is when guidance comes in.
Yes.
Because only that morning, I was in my bathroom putting on my makeup and I grabbed a tissue from the tissue box. And in the tissue box, it said, "Today I will overcome all obstacles." And I was looking at that tissue box and it just popped. I mean, I've had that tissue box for over a week now. Never looked at it before. And now I'm looking at those words. And I was looking at, and I thought, how clever to program the human collective to think that obstacles are normal and accept them in their lives. So I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub the word obstacles off and put the word challenges in there instead, because there's huge difference between the word obstacle to the word challenge. A challenge is a choice. I challenge myself to climb that rock face. I challenge myself to finish a marathon. I challenge myself to embody high-frequency paradigm for the next 24 hours. I challenge myself to learn French. I challenge myself to drop the chicken scratches. I challenge myself to learn how to drive a car. So it's like a challenge is a choice and it's joyful to me.
Yeah, it is. Challenges, like, I agree.
But obstacles are a victim thing. They just happen to you from a random thing that happens to you.
Trying to get here, there's obstacles in the way.
On the way, I can't get there, right? So it's dependent on something else. You give your authority to something else. And the word authority, remember that lady that does the word thing? She loves words. And we listened to a podcast. I can't remember her name. But there's this lady, and she pointed out the word, sorry, I just lost my thread. She pointed out the word authority.
Right.
Right. And it was really fascinating to me because I love to listen and discover the origin of words, because it carries all the energy behind it. And she said authority comes from the word author, which is you are the creator of something. So when you give your authority to somebody else, you're giving authorship. They now have the right to create your reality and write it out, right?
Yeah.
So she was saying what really annoyed her was that there was a movement to challenge or to be against authority, instead of being a movement of I take my authority. Right, so, and that was part of the paradigm of giving away your authority anyways. Because,
giving away your power?
Yeah, because, she's like, and she talked about a lot of things that we talk about.
She was on Freeman TV.
Freeman TV, okay.
Yeah, we listened to
good.
Freeman TV podcast.
So you can look for her there.
Yeah.
And
she has the funniest laugh.
Oh my God.
Every time she laughed, you said,
no, please don't do that. I can't hear you now. The laugh was, something like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you're her and you're listening to this podcast, I apologize. But I just cracked me up, man. And I stopped listening. It was annoying.
But you came right back.
Yes, I'd pause it until I was.
I mean, how is a person going to help how they laugh, I
know. I've heard some really bad laughs. At least that one was funny and not really obnoxious. But anyways, going back to authority.
Right.
You're the author, right? So an obstacle, you're giving authorship of your reality to somebody else. You're saying that something else or someone else put something in front of you that you can't go through, right? So that's why I prefer the word challenges. And the card that came up was obstacles and challenges. And to me, it was a direct reference to that knowing and that seeing that I had when I saw that tissue box. And I changed the word obstacles to challenges. And it felt very, very on point to me, because that's exactly what this emergency series is about. We changed the authorship of our lives from external people and beings and organizations, take it back into ourselves, and we choose what challenges we bring, if any, we bring into our lives.
We choose our challenges, if any.
Yeah. we bring into our lives. We do that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
So that was that card.
Yeah, it was sometimes, well, when you use a process and you live on your land and you become powerful, more and more powerful, then it seems like these synchronous moments, like with the card, seeing the box being tuned in, it's tuned in, kind of tapped in.
Yeah, it's
You're
more than
in
just
tune.
linear. It's not linear time. It's more like topic centralized. It's like topic focused.
Right. So having the card and all of that come in the same day and support each other, it's just interesting. Mm-hmm. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
But totally love changing obstacle, thinking about the obstacle, and shifting your thought to challenge. Mm-hmm. This is a challenge you've chosen, and you don't have to choose that challenge.
Exactly.
You can say, like, nah, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
If you really, really wanted to. Or, hey, you put a challenge there, go smack it.
Yeah.
Yep, that might be fun.
Yeah.
At the very least, you know that this challenge is a voluntary thing.
Yeah.
That you've chosen to see if you overcome it or don't, or whatever.
Right.
It's not end of the world if you don't.
Yeah.
It's just, I tried to climb that mountain and I got halfway up and it started raining and snowing. You know what? I don't really like cold and wet.
Yeah.
And the further I went, the colder and wetter it was. So I said, enough of that.
Yeah. So I do teach about obstacles. And what I feel is one of the roles that we can put obstacles in our way is to stop us from going in a direction that is against our higher self-choice. But we still do it. So it's not a challenge because we don't overcome it, you see?
Yeah.
So it's an obstacle. And then the way that I teach it, you can find that in ineliabenz.com, is how to identify if it's an obstacle you place there to stop yourself from going in a certain direction, how to find that out, and then what to do about it. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, last time we talked, we promised we said we would talk a little bit about chronic splinteritis, because we just brought it up at the very end, remember? Yes. Sort of like this time.
Yeah.
But you had made a post on Telegram, which I think is related to the chronic splinteritis in a way. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, if you're not on Telegram,
you really should get in there and subscribe.
Inelia Benz Telegram channel is badass.
Yeah.
You posted about, don't argue about vaccines with your friends or family over this holiday period. I know Christmas probably happened yesterday. Mm-hmm. And anyways, you're still probably around. You might have already been there. You might have found that you did get into an argument.
Yeah.
You might have found that you didn't because you were already pre-warned. Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
So it's best to have that subscription at a place like Telegram because it's a direct-to-you thing.
Reminder,
There's nobody in between you and the little thing. It's just, we're allies here to help each other navigate the split.
Yeah.
You want help navigating the split. Lone wolves don't navigate things always well because you can't see your own stuff all the time.
Yeah, and you're not omnipotent.
Right. You can't see what you can't see. You don't know what you don't know. So when you have a tribe, you have a better opportunity to see
a high frequency tribe.
A high frequency tribe. You have a better opportunity to be able to see all these things because a lone mystic is what?
Stupid.
Don't be stupid.
Yeah. That's right.
That's right. So, can you talk about that? Don't argue about vaccines with your friends or family over Christmas. What can you do instead? I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Inelia?
Yes.
All the rest of the family has been vaccinated. You haven't. Are you going to do it?
I'm still thinking about it.
Well, what's the problem?
I haven't decided yet.
Do you know that it's very uncomfortable for all of us to have you here because of that.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. I'll take it into consideration in my decision.
What do you mean by that?
That I'll be taking your viewpoint and your feelings into consideration when I make my choice.
Are you just snowballing me? I mean, I want you to tell me you're going to get it.
I'm really sorry that you feel that way.
Why?
I apologize.
Then get vaccinated, honey.
I'll think about it.
When? Can you give me a day?
Yeah, I'll let you know on Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yes.
Well, all right. Are you going to call me? You want me to call you?
Sure, I'll call you.
You'll call me on Tuesday
yes.
and tell me you've decided to finally get it?
Yes.
Okay, good. That feels better. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being so caring and loving.
Whew. I gotta breathe. I was going to argue with myself. That's not funny.
You're going to argue with yourself?
Yes.
How?
Tell me I'm full of crap.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Fall into the righteousness, right?
No, I wasn't falling. I jumped.
You jumped.
Oh, yeah.
So here's what not to do.
Here's what
Larry.
not. Yes?
When the hell are you going to get vaccinated, son?
Are you a fucking idiot? You must be an idiot, right?
Why are you insulting me? That's
Because
no way
you're
to
an
treat
idiot.
your parent.
Well, you probably should read.
That's what not to do, right?
Well, can we do that a few times? That's kind of fun.
You feel your expansion. And we're not giving medical advice, okay? We're just talking about how to deal with difference of opinion within a family.
Well, I can guarantee you within a family, at least I can't guarantee you because I don't know everybody's family, but within my family, there's definitely, my own tendency for righteousness at all different frequencies.
Yes.
So when I say all different frequencies, I mean righteousness isn't high frequency.
No.
But there is lower frequency levels also.
Yes.
So all the low frequencies of righteousness are covered.
Okay, yes, I've noticed.
So when you put a bunch of different low frequency righteousnesses together, all of them are right. Well, they're all right in their frequency band.
Yes.
And that's the one way that I can manage righteousness is appreciating for a moment that their righteous is right.
Yes.
In their frequency band of experience. Mm-hmm. But that's, scare. It's not my frequency of awareness. Mm-hmm. Because mine is right.
Right.
All kidding aside, it's perspectives. But, when people are projecting their righteousness on you, it can be pretty uncomfortable.
It is. It's very uncomfortable. Be aware of that. It's very uncomfortable.
So arguing with your family and friends over this particular topic is projecting your righteousness on them.
Yes.
And they may be doing it on you.
And it's just going to feed the beast this winter. And you do not want to be feeding the beast this winter.
So I have heard some people use the technique of lying.
Yeah, some people
on
do.
Both sides. Some
sides.
People have said, oh no, I didn't get it. But they did.
Yeah.
And other people have said, oh yes, I've got all my shots.
Yeah, and they didn't.
Incidentally, if you say, oh yes, I have all my shots, it isn't technically
a lie.
I'm
all up to date.
All up to date on all the shots I want.
Right.
Which is not.
That are necessary for me.
That are necessary for me. I'm up to date on all the shots that are necessary for me. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And you are so right. But, even then, if you're dealing with a particular righteous individual, it can help to disarm it because you just don't want to go there. You just don't go there. You don't need to argue with their right. You just, what's that?
If you're going to
the kung fu where somebody tries to hit you, you just go with it.
Right, you just move on a little bit to the side and they go flying past you.
Or you use their energy against them or to push them or for them. So their strikes are nowhere for them to land.
Right.
I don't know, there's a practice.
Yeah.
Not Kung Fu, obviously.
No.
I think it's...
Shih Tzu?
Shih Tzu is a dog.
Oh, is it?
It might be Shiba Inu.
Shiba Inu.
No, that's a crypto.
That's a crypto.
Oh, jeez.
We're terrible with names.
It's very serious practice, and it's very effective.
It is.
I'm
It's
sure.
really good.
And I
Very,
remember,
very
I think
cool.
our friend Cliff who talks about that.
Okay.
He might be a practitioner of it, dojos.
Yeah.
At any rate, that might be a better path, is just
Go the way of Zen.
disarm the righteous by allowing them to be right in their way.
Yep.
Still going to be a challenge. Maybe spend a little less time
In those type of
in
situations.
those situations
Yeah.
if you can choose it. Don't that's one of the things I've noticed, with a righteous person, not myself. You will sit there long enough to finally get it.
What do you mean?
A proper trigger.
Yes.
It's like, I'm going to set a challenge.
I will get a proper trigger.
I'm going to get a proper trigger. If I'll just wait here long enough, somebody's going to bite. Show up in a shirt. Or maybe has some words on it. So try not to be the bait. And, if you want to visit with your family, they have a thing. It's going to trigger your stuff. Maybe go in ahead of time knowing you'll spend the time. That's fine in high frequency. And when the frequency changes, it's time for you to go figure out ahead of time how you will make that happen.
Yeah.
So oh no.
And remember that
I love my
in a
time
lot
with
of
my
these,
family.
in a lot of countries around the world, it is a time, in New Year's especially, where people consume enormous amounts of alcohol.
Oh, right.
So during the holidays, winter holidays, they consume so much alcohol. And I've talked about this so many times. Alcohol is called spirits for a reason. There's a lot of low frequency entities that take advantage and can influence the person drinking in very negative ways. So
Good point.
be aware of that. Do not drink any alcohol this winter. This is very, very particular winter. Do not drink alcohol this winter, like zero. And also do not engage in conversations or arguments with people who are drinking alcohol.
So have a rum and coke, no rum.
Yeah.
Have apple cider, bubbly cider, not champagne.
Yes.
Have
Water.
water?
Yeah.
Who's going to drink water?
I drink water.
Dancing with water, living water,
Yeah.
with full of HHOs.
Yeah.
But let's say we're at our Christmas dinner thing, and there's 5 bottles of wine. There's eggnog that has, I don't know what they put in it, rum and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's the kid bowl.
Also bring your own drinks.
Guess
Bring your
what?
favorite sodas, bring your favorite apple juice.
Bring what it is that you like to drink.
Exactly. Lots of it. Because you'll be
you
surprised.
can share it with other people. Like,
You'll
remember
be
we
surprised.
went to the meat festival and brought Three Sisters soup?
Yeah, and it was all gone.
And
within a
all
few
3
minutes.
Sisters was gone in 3 minutes.
Yeah, even though the tables were full of barbecue and salads.
Remember the barbecue was not high frequency barbecue.
No?
It didn't feel high frequency.
No, it didn't.
barbecue.
We didn't eat any of it.
We couldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know, remember why, but I remember being there and going, this isn't a high frequency barbecue for some reason.
Right.
I love meat. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I eat all day long.
We do have barbecue all the time.
But that wasn't right. Something wasn't.
But that's Three Sister soup, man.
That's
We brought a
Sister
giant pot
Yeah.
of it.
There
And
was
it's
no
gone.
salad there. There was no vegetable.
And it was gone.
And all the soup. Yeah, that was
Gone.
cool. Three
Yeah.
Sisters soup, if you don't know, is squash,
Corn
corn,
and a bean.
and bean.
Yeah.
And they're cooked together because they have all of the components that your body needs to survive if you put in a little bit of olive oil too.
At the end.
At the
raw,
end.
yeah.
So you have your oils and all of your nutrients that are necessary
And
for a human to be.
they activate their enzymes and stuff to become bioavailable.
Right.
Yeah.
They grow together well,
Yes.
and then they eat together well.
Yes, very well.
So, it's one of those very supportive meals.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Alcohol.
Don't
So
drink
bring your drinks, and my experience, because I haven't actually been very fond of alcohol all of my life,
I'm quite the opposite.
Yeah, you've been quite the opposite. But anyways, I would go to parties and I would bring my fruit juice. And the first time I just brought one bottle, I remember in Ireland, thinking, it's just me, this is Ireland, right? Nobody's going to drink it. It was gone in seconds.
Really?
Right? Yeah. Not just from people who just wanted the fruit juice, but the mixers. So the next time I brought a case. And it was gone by the end of the party. It was gone.
Well, that's a good tactic. Because when I went to parties, or whatever gatherings and there's alcohol there, I always loved it. And it was a good excuse to get into the pile, you know. But it never really led to a great consequence. I always felt bad, or you get tired, or you're triggered, or, you know, it never was a good thing. It really didn't. I don't know why people bring it. But I know how I liked it, but I don't know why you would pour fire on, you know, gasoline on the fire, which would be some family members, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense why we would do that to ourselves. But if I was going now, if I was trying to put me past me there, and was aware, awake, high frequency enough to know that I should not touch any alcohol during this winter
season, yeah. It was
winter season.
Winter season.
It could be challenging because just like people on a diet don't want to eat the cake. There's tons of cake everywhere, the candies, all that stuff. Alcohol has the same kind of attraction. It's a sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have, I guess, call it an open door to it, prepare yourself ahead of time with the pre-thought you're not. And one of the acceptable reasons for alcoholics is you're driving.
Mm.
You could say, I really would love to, but I have to be the driver. And, you know, if I have one's too many and 100's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I better just not.
Right.
Because I need to drive. If you move the reason outside of yourself into a reason that other alcoholics can say, oh yeah, you're really smart. I don't know how you're so strong, but that's a good idea. You know, they'll support you instead of try to recruit you.
Right, right.
Because all alcoholics like having a recruit. They like to recruit other ones.
Yeah.
Because it's more fun to, you know, have a demon party with other demons.
Yes.
Demons like each other.
Demons do like each other, yeah.
Yeah. So work on that. Work on having a preset. And bring your own beverage.
Yep.
And find that beverage actually could probably get shared. But you're not the only one having the same thoughts, especially if you're the one going to this party.
Mm-hmm.
There are others having that too. And so you being powerful also
gives permission
for others to be more powerful.
Yeah.
So, you know, be yourself. And be aware and just don't do it. Mm-hmm. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
So you're going to go talk about chronic splinteritis?
Well, I think I will. I think it's a funny set of words, and it helps describe some of the effects that we're going through right now that people blame on a thing that they don't see and a cause. And, it's a narrative and a story and a manifestation of belief based on facts of a scientific nature that most all of us never really delve into the control, the proof, the truth. And it's related to when you, at the very beginning of all this, said, there's no viruses.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I was like, no, honey, don't say that. Honey, come on. Now that's proven in science. Look, they have billion-dollar science labs working on viruses. Yeah. And they're doing gain-of-function research. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Where they take viruses and then infect things with them and then see which ones work better or whatever. Try and get them to go against humans from dogs or cats or whatever. It's like, what the hell are they doing if not that? Those are viruses.
Viruses, yeah, I know. I was shocked when the information came in.
Well,
and I was even more shocked when I found out that this has been known since the 1980-somethings.
Yeah, it was like when I was shocked to find out that when you cut down trees and clear cuts, it fills dirt in the river, and then the dirt smothers the eggs of the salmon, and then the salmon die and don't come back is like one of the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm reading an 1800s logging book, and they say, you really should be cautious when you cut in the trees down all the way to the river, because it fills silt in the river and it kills the salmon eggs, and the salmon returns don't come back. And don't make dams either, because the salmon got to get through.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this is news from 100 years ago still. Yes. And nothing's changed in hundreds of years. Yeah. But it has changed.
Yeah.
It may not all be better, but it is significantly better. We drive, and you see on the logged off areas, everywhere there's a stream or a creek or any trickle of water.
There's a couple of trees left still there.
There's a swath of 50 to 100 feet of trees. So there's like tree slice is all the way up these creeks. It's better.
It's a little bit better.
A little bit better. Mm-hmm. Anyways, did I get righteous for a second? Yeah, probably.
I think you did, yes.
So the chronic splinteritis was a description of one of the 3 ways people get sick. Mm-hmm. And the treatment for chronic splinteritis was to lessen the number of things that are getting the splinter out of you. Mm-hmm. In other words, you get a splinter, mm-hmm. and then it puffs up.
Yeah.
And inside that puff are pus and stuff, which are bacteria and parasites and particles that are trying to take that splinter out of you, tiny bit by tiny bit by tiny bit, because it's stuck in there and it's not supposed to be there.
Right.
So they eat it, basically absorb it, and it gets excreted through your liver or your kidneys or whatever.
Squish it and comes out.
Or you squish it, it comes out. Or
it
does not be too gooey.
Yeah.
But, it's a biological process.
Yeah.
So the treatment that is being prescribed in shots, the treatment that's being prescribed in antibiotics, and the treatment, is to treat chronic splinteritis. Leave the splinter, but get rid of the things that are getting rid of the splinter. Get rid of the bacteria and everything else.
Yeah.
When the true treatment is just get rid of the splinter.
Right.
That's actually what's happening. So support the getting rid of the splinter.
Yes.
So in a sense, the virus narrative is giving power to the particles, that those are the ones that are making you sick. The particles that we're saying are that. Mm. And those particles are the breakdown particles of your cells, which are toxic. Or they're removing and getting rid of their toxins. So it's a particle that exists. It's named something and assigned a life cycle that it doesn't have. Mm. But that allows you to have an invisible thing to be afraid of, and an invisible thing to subscribe to.
It reminds me of the plant thing.
The plant thing?
Yeah. I remember we got a plant and it was full of bugs. And somebody said, I can't remember who said, oh my gosh, those bugs are killing your plant.
Yeah, exactly.
And I said, no, they're not. The bugs are there because the plant is sick. Its balance is off. So I need to check the soil, check the size of the roots in the pot, the food in it, the health of the root system, to see where the imbalance is. Because the bugs arrive because the plant is sick, not the other way around. And every time I see bugs on that plant, I know that that plant is still imbalanced and there's something wrong with it, right? Right. Because the bugs keep coming back to it. And then
because a healthy plant
doesn't have bugs.
Clearly isn't going to be killed by bugs, because the bugs are everywhere.
No, because the bugs don't come to it because it's healthy. They only take the nasty stuff of the dying parts of the plant.
Unless they're slugs, in which case they just climb over everything.
They eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are things that have a diet. Rabbits, whatever. Yes. That eat green foods. But an infestation on a plant is because the plant isn't able to defend itself, right?
No.
The plant is in an unhealthy state, and the bugs are there to get rid of the unhealthy state.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Like treating chronic splinteritis by getting rid of the swelling.
Right. So sometimes with the swelling can overcome the body. There's so much stuff trying to get rid of that splinter that it kills the body, right? Because the body's out of balance.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you treat the swelling by getting rid of the things that are getting rid of the splinter, then you end up sicker because you have a
Yes.
splinter in you still.
Right, that too. But sometimes the side effects of the splinter can actually destroy the person. Just like the bugs are eating all the bad parts of the plant, or are attracted because the plant is sick and dying, and they can overcome the plant. So what I did was I got rid of the bugs, but I also worked diligently to balance the plant back up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the bugs, one of the plants still has bugs on it, which means that didn't work. I didn't function because one of the things is that there was two plants tied together, smushed in together in a tiny little pot. So when I split them up into two pots, one of them started flourishing and it doesn't have bugs anymore, and the other one does. But I did get rid of the insects because it was like, okay, you don't need to be here anymore. I'm gonna rebalance this plant. But there's still like a sign for one of them that it didn't work. That it's still imbalance and not balanced up because the bugs keep coming back in that plant, right? Mm-hmm. So I see them as a sign, but I do get rid of them myself.
Well, the other part with the chronic splinteritis is, can you catch chronic splinteritis from somebody else?
No. Because if you get a splinter, that can be caught by someone else, right?
Right. But if you're in a diseased state or a weakened state or a poisoned state, poisoned by a toxin in your environment or a parasite who you are susceptible to because of your toxic
imbalance,
state,
yeah.
Can you catch that from somebody else?
No.
So when we go
you could be
town,
in the same toxic you could be in the same toxic environment and you both get overcome by it because you're weak and one other person is not physically weak, so they don't get sick through the poison, right? Toxicity.
What about when we go to town and get spiked?
Affected by the shedding of toxins from other people is because our bodies are not strong enough to sustain toxicity.
Or sensitive.
Are sensitive to toxins, yeah.
I never considered myself sensitive to any toxins, but it turns out I am a little bit.
A lot.
I was a sheer fan of toxins for a very long time.
That's probably why your body's overwhelmed with it.
Well, I am flushing.
Yeah.
So one of the messages with the splinteritis was that it's not so much you're catching because they did do that even in 1918.
Yeah, they did.
They took the excretions from sick people, and tried to use them to get other people sick, and it didn't work.
It didn't work.
So no matter what they did, no matter how they tried, that contagion didn't function that way that they thought it did. Yeah. But on the other hand, it is a common experience that people have, which is they go somewhere and there's a bunch of sick people and they get sick. It's also, I would say, a common experience that they go, there's a lot of sick people and you don't get sick. Yes. But which one do we give power to?
Right.
Which one?
Oh, power to socially, you mean?
Yeah.
That they're contagious and you're going to catch it.
Right. Even though tons of people don't.
Yeah.
Some people do.
Yeah.
And even though 99 times out of 100 you're around people who are sick, and you don't, the one time out of 100 you do, it only reinforces, that one time reinforces the whole contagion narrative, right?
Right.
But that's the one that's given all the attention and all the power.
Yeah.
Whether or not, well, it's clearly an experience people have, but they're attaching that experience to the other one, which is the problem, right? The problem is they're attaching that I got sick to the fact that that person's sick.
Yes.
Now, to prove it, you would have to do some things, which you could clearly figure out, like that person stays over there, and you're over here, and then you grab all of their clothes and blankets and stuff, put on your bed, and then see if that makes you sick. Which it didn't. It's shown that it didn't.
Except for the toxins that are carried by fleas.
Well, those are different things.
Parasites.
If you get fleas, that's the fleas carrying toxins, or the bed bugs. I heard that bed bugs cause smallpox, and it was the bed bugs in the blankets
Yes.
that caused the people who got them to get sick.
Yes, toxins from the bed bugs.
Right.
Parasites into the body.
Along with the introduction of, a radical new reality.
Yeah.
And the stress that a new reality brings about.
Mm-hmm.
And not a high-frequency reality either.
No.
But anyway, we digress. There are ways to get ill. There are toxins. If you go into an environment where there's a lot of toxins, even if you don't necessarily get exposed to the toxins, you can be exposed to the people who are getting rid of those toxins.
Yeah.
Which is a message to your body.
Oh, we have to get rid of toxins.
We need to get rid of toxins.
Because
there's a ton, and everybody around here is excreting them. They're all going away. We better flush.
Yes.
Because if we wait until later, it might be serious.
Right.
Kind of intelligent body, right?
Yeah.
So, you could say that is contagion.
Right.
But in fact, it is a body excreting toxin.
Yes.
So if you regularly are excreting them, your body knows, hey, we're cool. We have a practice, man. We have a sauna, we have a hot tub, we have a this, we have a that. We're supported and we're clear and we're clean. You're feeling this thing. Let's give a quick flush. 30 seconds, a minute.
Yeah.
Yep, gone. We're good.
Yeah.
If you're in a good, strong state, then it shouldn't affect you as much. And that's kind of what I hear from Dr. Cohen. He's like, I hear this. Everybody reports this to me, but I can't comment on it because I haven't had that experience.
Right. Because he's always flushing.
He's always flushing. He's eating pickles all day long. He's healthy food and
doing his exercises.
He's in a good, healthy, strong, hard to kill state.
Exactly, hard to kill state.
Right. So I guess it's all your experience. If you're finding yourself reactive, then maybe give some consideration to supporting your detoxing, to supporting your flushing, and supporting and understanding that process. Process. Yeah.
There's plenty of information out there. So
okay. I'm not going to pretend to be the expert of it.
No, totally.
There are definitely experts of it.
There are. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think hour and a half. I think we've exhausted our after Christmas party, honey.
Yes.
Well, I can't actually wait for Christmas. What are we going to do for our after Christmas party?
Open our presents.
No, we'll open them on Christmas or before.
Yes.
We will after Christmas party.
Can we get in our camper and leave?
No, honey.
No.
No. No.
Okay. Prepare for New Year's.
Probably after Christmas party, we'll record a podcast.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
We will work as we always do.
Yeah.
Maybe, can we put on our list something entertaining and fun?
Like what?
What would be supportive of a bodies after Christmas?
How about a hike?
How about a beach hike?
Oh, yeah, beach hike. Yes.
Okay, so we're going to plan a beach hike.
Excellent.
After Christmas party on the beach.
Yay.
Okay, I like it.
On Boxing Day. Yay.
Boxing Day. I don't know what that is. I've heard that word. I think they have it in Canada too.
Oh, do they?
Yes.
Cool.
Well, happy Christmas Boxing Day.
Yay.
Love you, honey.
Love you too, darling.